Our next guest is Abraham Oshoko. We've had him on this show before to discuss his book titled June 12, when it first came out. We thought this is a good time to bring him back, considering all the ongoing discussions about that important date and democracy in Nigeria. Abraham joined us to chat about his book, his work, and what he's currently up to. Enjoy this. Abraham, nice to have you on Channels Book Club again.
It's good to come again.
Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Your book,
Yeah.
and I think I must have told you a few times, one of my favorites. Now, because it's what caught my attention is the way you did it.
Okay.
It's not your normal, regular, text-based, entirely text book.
It's not.
It's a graphic novel.
Yeah.
You know, so now I used to like comics many years ago. So when I saw it, it read like a comic. It was presented as a comic, but it was so packed with a lot of rich information about June 12.
That's true.
And the events and characters around June 12 and all that. So I thought we should bring you back because, you know, we had a session with you when your book first came out, but there have been June 12 celebrations over the years.
That's true.
And then it was turned into Democracy Day in Nigeria and all that. So I got curious about how your book has been doing since then, in terms of what have you seen since you wrote that book that has probably expanded your mind on the subject or made you think, hey, I'm happy I did that project, you know?
Okay.
Tell me a bit about that.
Well, first of all, I am happy I did it. And the reason for that is not far-fetched. You know, it is, of course, with something like June 12, an event that all manner of things happened. There's so much propaganda from everywhere about it.
So many stories.
Yeah, so many stories, so many beliefs.
Yeah.
And I was happy that I was able to do a book that sanitized the facts, such that, you know, whatever cobwebs that have wrapped themselves around the issues, they were moved away, and the truth was presented factually as it happened, at least to the best of my knowledge. You know, so I'm very happy because for so many years, I have always known that May 29th is not Democracy Day, because that does not cover the entire democratic
doesn't tell
philosophy.
the story. It doesn't tell the story.
You know, it doesn't cover the entire democratic philosophy of the Nigerian struggle for the restoration of democracy. You know, if you mention June 12, you know, it's like a summarized cliche. When you just say June 12, people know what June 12 is, even if they may not really be able to explain it. And then, of course, now that it is Democracy Day, young people start asking, why are we even celebrating this day? That's where my book comes in.
Abraham, you wrote the script for June 12.
Yes.
I mean, let's start from research. You researched it.
Yes.
You wrote the script.
Yes.
And then you illustrated it.
Yes.
That's a rich combination of skills and talents. Now, for most writers, or for most books, you know, these roles are separated.
That's true.
And particularly that of the illustrator. It's a very rare skill to have. And hardly do you find illustrators who can also write, you know, the way you've written. So that must have been quite interesting and challenging for you.
Well, it's not that it was challenging. I've always loved writing. It just happened so that I'm also an illustrator. You know, the thing that was a bit challenging was the research, because I've never had to do anything of such magnitude before, particularly when you want to tell a story that is objective. So that tells you that it's not every hearsay that you can say, yes, that also happened. You need 3, 4, 5 cross-references for every point, because you want to be sure that you're not misleading your readers.
Why did you pick the graphic novel style? Why did you pick the drawings, the comic book style thing?
Well, because reading culture was dying. And there are matters of national significance that needs to be brought back into our consciousness as a nation. No nation forgets its history. In fact, someone once said that those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Mm-hmm. You know, so when you have issues like that to deal with, if you now write, some people will read it, but it won't be broad enough. I mean, your audience. But if you do it in such a way that somebody may just pick it, let me even see what is there.
So the idea was to just catch attention, draw attention.
To make sure as many Nigerians from all walks of life, from all age brackets, will be able to be tutored on what Nigerian history is regarding certain events that have happened.
So how do you create, I mean, pardon my ignorance, I'm sure those who know will be laughing at a question like this, but how do you do those illustrations? Because I look at those characters, they really look like, I mean, Abiola in your book looks like Abiola and IBB and Abacha and all that. How do you craft? I mean, did you draw those? Did you draw them one by one? How does it work?
Well, if you're an illustrator, it's one of the things in the trade. You must know how to repeat several characters and from different angles.
Okay.
You know, even if you're drawing repeatedly. You know, but there are some creative technologies now that have made it easier compared to
back then.
Back then, you have to do paper and pencil and inking pen and all of those. That's how I did that.
Manually?
Yes, manually. You know, but now we have tablets, we have digital drawing boards, and all of that.
They make the work easier?
They make it easier, but if you are not coming from that old school, you won't know how to, you won't be able to be very good with them.
Okay.
So, but if you were coming from there, when you make your transition, it's easier.
Okay.
Because you already know your trade anyway. These are just better tools that makes your work easier. At least I'm certain that the new book that I'm working on, you saw the difference. You know, I sent you some things to go through on Enigma, I think.
Yes.
You can see the looks compared to when I was doing June 12.
Okay.
You know, so it's like that.
Abraham, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to have you here. And looking forward to those books that you're working on.
No problem
at all. To them.
No problem.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Before we go, please don't forget to take out time to catch Channels Book Club on the new podcast series of Channels Television that is already on. This podcast service will give you the opportunity to listen to episodes of Channels Book Club from anywhere. To get on board and enjoy this podcast service, visit www.channelstv.com/podcasts. If you want to save data or you are commuting and unable to watch the program, this will be excellent for you. So please hook up to www.channelstv.com/podcast. This is where we have to end the show today. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. I'm Olakunle Kasumo. Remember, one great book can change your life. Bye-bye.